Hello. I am Victor Rivera, and welcome to D&Mead Like the Drink. This is a rather infrequent show. It was every Monday for a little bit there, but I have decided that it would be more sustainable for Victor if it's once every month, kind of randomly, whenever, it's a thing. So, welcome. This is October 18th, 2021, and technically the first three are within the once a month dealy. So, welcome. Come grab a glass of something good and pop a squat, and we'll talk about cool stuff, like how D&Me has been going this past month. There's a lot of growth going on. But first, my drink tonight, it's not mead, but it is, and turn off my green screen for 2 seconds. It is a classic from Atlanta, Sweetwater IPA. And I turned off my green screen because green screens work on bright yellow also. So that's very funny. But I will keep it in a little koozie. Boy, this isn't great. Tie-dye. Whatever. It's fine. So, no. Now you can't see the thing, so I'll cheers. And then... Alright, so. Cheers. Yeah, baby. Oh boy, let's turn that green screen back up. And then I had some of my backgrounds for normal D&Me up, and it was just a lot. Hello, large melon lady. Show melons. I have no melons. I can draw a melon real quick. Do I have any melons? I don't. I'll get you some melons. Thank you, first time chat from viewer. I'll do melons here in a second. But yes, thank you for being here. We're just gonna hang out, and I have the chat open, which isn't normal for D&Me, so I would chat with y'all. So I'm gonna draw melons right now. I love it. So this past month, last D&Mead Like the Drink was September 7th. And since then, a lot has happened. Specifically, like numbers-wise, people have started to subscribe to my Twitch, which is very exciting. What the heck do watermelons look like? Oh, and it's green screen also. Yeah, people are subscribing to the Twitch, which is really cool. And that's affirming because that is money that comes in, which is neat. If you do like a Twitch subscription, then and if it's on Amazon Prime also, then that's like $3 coming my way. And if you have Amazon Prime, then you can sign up for Twitch. You can subscribe to a Twitch for free every month. So if you have an Amazon Prime account and aren't doing that, give me $3, please. So that's really affirming. And then also, this as a business thing, it'd be cool, future Victor, when you watch this tomorrow morning, it'd be cool to invest in like drawing on like where you can see me drawing, because this is fun to listen to. But like it'd be cool because I'm arty. These could be like D&Mead and art things. Ooh, like a wine and pottery thing. I'll figure that out. Anyways, a business lurch forward for D&Me is that I made a link tree where I am gathering all of my links for everywhere. And instead of going, well, you can go on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, then you can go on this one link and go see them all. So I should have done that the other way around. But it's a really cool fucking thing. Oh dear, my watermelon's just turning super green. I'll still do it. Linktree. So I gathered all of my links for all my D&Medias and D and merchandise and the podcast, which I'll talk about here in a second. And I also my Amazon wish list, which people were so generous to be a part of at the very beginning of D&Mead. That is up there too. So if you are interested, as I color this watermelon, bam, that's the Linktree, baby. And I've been loving how easy it is. That those all my links, just right there. All right, large melon lady. As you can tell, the green screen. Here's the watermelon, but I'll make it a thing in a second. Let's see. How do I do that? Yay! Okay, so I drew a watermelon for you. Oh, let me get Linktree out of the way. It's beautiful. Thanks. It's a watermelon. I will. You're welcome. Thank you for the prompt. Linktree watermelon. It's so beautiful. Well, keep it up. How about that? Here, I'll cut it out and then I'll just have it taped right here to the microphone. That'll be funny. So Linktree, that's very fun. And it's affirming to put all of the. I'm gonna post it on my Instagram. Well, thank you. That means a lot. Oh, I need to. This is fine. I'm already scattered. This is great. So my normal D&Me backgrounds were a lot with this beer and drinkies stuff on it. So I decided just to have a nice neutral background. But in order to see this watermelon, then I need to have it not green screened. So you'll just see what my wrinkly ass green screen looks like. Linktree, yes. It's affirming because I've done a lot for D&Me, and to put it all in one place is really, really cool instead of kind of spread out, and it's neat. Then part of that is the podcast. I'll do masking tape. Part of it is the podcast, so as I've been teasing for a couple episodes, then I have taken the first 4 episodes of D&Me and I've edited them down into a podcast. And it takes a long time to do it, about an hour to edit 10 minutes. But it's totally worth it because I have people that Twitch isn't easy for them, and it's just a whole lot cooler. Watermelon. And let me pose. Perfect. Large melon lady, take a screenshot. 3, 2. Yes, there you go. I have a watermelon on. That's so cute. Podcast, 4 episodes up on anchor.fm/DnMe. I don't remember. That's why I have a Linktree. So, yeah, the podcast is up, and it's normally on Spotify and like Breaker and a couple other podcast dealies that I don't know of. But then Apple Podcast also, where everyone knows that. It's the little purple exclamation point on your iPhones. So that's really cool, and it's doable, and I can do it. I won't be able. I was planning to have 5 episodes out before episode 11. Thank you, Large Melon Lady. They said it's fantastic. It's a pretty good podcast, and it's a pretty good watermelon. So the podcast, yeah. So, but 4 episodes is really neat, and I want it. I am not able to do it weekly yet, to edit it that frequently, but I want to try to do it. And this next week will be busy, which is fun, but it's just I'm happy for it, and it's the polished version of it, so that's really neat. Yeah, because D&Me's an awesome product, and I'm glad that it reflects very well on a podcast form. And I'm listening to it, and I'm like, wow, my voice is pretty good when I do all my voices. So that's really cool. And then as of last night, hold on, I'm taking some Twinkies. As of last night, I made D&Me into a show that is on IMDb, which is International Movie Database, where if you watch a movie or watch a TV show or a web series, you can look it up on IMDb, and it'll tell you everything about it, like the cast and crew and the release dates and trivia about it. When I watch a movie, then in the before times, before I got really busy with D&Me, I would go back and read all of the trivia for every movie, and I love it, love it, love it. My IMDb profile has 40, is that right, 40? That was a big burp. 40 entries. Let's see. Is it 40? 36 credits. But there's a couple more coming up, and like stuff are just in the script stage. So when you go on IMDb Pro, which is the paid account, which y'all don't need unless you're an industry professional, then you might need it. But for regular IMDb, it has I have 36 credits, and D&Me, if you click on it, then it says it's a TV series, and that I am in all 11 episodes so far, and that I play Dungeon Master and Onyx and Rock and Tipsy and Toot Toot and all NPCs. So that's fun. And I made my family associate producers. I made myself an executive producer and the writer and director and editor and. But I made my family, my mom and dad, my sister, associate producers. And when they watch this, honestly, I wanted to make them producers and show them like they're a part of like tangible support, which is really cool. They're not getting paid anything. I want to make that perfectly clear. They give me money to do this because they're very generous, and I love them so much. But I made them producers, and I made them associate producers because it has the word ass in it. I could have made them executive producers, but ass is funnier and lower than my executive producer title. So that's exciting. And yeah, that happened literally last night. I was going to make a post today, this morning, for my 10 o'clock post, where I was I was in the middle of, like, they send me some like progress emails of like, oh, you submitted this, it's under consideration, we're going to update you in a second. And then I took all the screenshots of all the emails, and I was putting a Photoshop together. And then as I was doing it, I got another email saying, hey, it's a show. And I was like, well, I was making this post, but I guess this is a lot better. So it's a show now, which is amazing. And yeah, I thank you all so much for your support. This tonight is just kind of like a me drinking with an excuse dealing. But if you're here, welcome. What are you drinking? Chat in the chat with me. I'm here to hang out with y'all. If you're drinking water, that's perfectly fine. If you are under the age of 21, you should be drinking water or juice or milk. None of this sweet tasting alcohol for you. Sweet tasting alcohol. Let's see. I have Twitch stats up right now, and I have one viewer right now. Thank you, viewer. If it's large melon lady still, I appreciate it. Thank you. And then currently my whole Twitch channel has 669 views. Nice. And I'm only 2 away from 69 followers. I have 67 followers, which I'm very thankful for. Holy cow. So I have 3 subscribers. Oh, okay. Yeah, and that's 3 sub points. I don't know how to spend sub points. I have a list of 8. I have an 8-page list of things that I can be doing for D&Me, and figure out how to spend sub points is one of them. So we'll get there eventually, but not today. Also, I was going to, for this D&Mead, I was going to use Twitch Stream OBS. That's not right. What's it called? Streamlabs OBS. But I'm so used to just regular OBS that I was like, it was getting 45 minutes until show, and I was like, okay, so let me try and figure this out. Oh, everything's not where I'm used to it. We'll do it another time. Because I was going to use it for tonight's D&Mead, like the drink, but it's new and scary. And I'm only kind of want to use it for hearing notifications, not of chat, but of like, bing, you have a new follower. Bing, first time chat. Bing, someone's spent channel points. Can I? Oh, well, I was going to say I'll do this later, but this is later, and I have plenty of time. So I, as the Twitch as the Twitch creator of this Twitch, have infinite channel points. So you might have like 10 or 50, no, 100 or 50 channel points down in the, if you have the stream chat open, and then down in the bottom left, you have number of channel points. And then if you watch for like 5 minutes, then you can open a little gifty. So I have infinite channel points. So rewards and challenges, ×2 multiplier, tier 3 sub, manage rewards, review request queue. Don't know what any of that means. All right, let's highlight my message. Write something special below, and that is 100 channel points, and give it some glitz in chat. Beer. Ba-doop. Nice. I redeemed. Highlight my message 100. Broadcaster and 2-month subscriber. I'm subscribed to myself? Oh? Give a gift now to be number 1. Weekly top givers. Resets in 6 days. Gift a subscription. Who can I gift it to? Instantly unlock your first... Oh, there's a lot of stuff. Gift to the community. Gift a specific viewer. Oh, I clicked out of it. Gift a subscription. Gift a specific viewer. Do I have to... Okay. Do I have to pay for this? Because select months to give. If it's 1, then it's $4.99, tier 1. And then it says a subtotal $4.99. If I have like infinite channel points, does that mean I can... No, it looks like real money. I won't do that. Weekly top cheerers. Resets in 6 days. Cheer your way to the top. Weekly top givers. Gift a subscription. Okay. Okay. Oh, cheer now to me. I'm learning. Users in chat. Broadcaster. DnMeAdventures, and then users lady_Bath_Hori. Users. Is that the person watching right now? Is that users in chat? I don't know. Send message. Chat identity. Identity preview. How your name will appear in chat. Hide badge flare. Oh, well, chocolate. Okay, global name color. Pick a color, any color. It takes several minutes for your color to update in the chat room. Do I have to do this every time? Orange red. Ooh. Chocolate. That's kind of my orange. Chocolate's kind of my the hex code is hashtag FF6604. That is, nope. Oh, darn. I like coral. I'm going to choose that. My color has changed a whole bunch because I get... So, like, numerically, if you're on Photoshop and are looking up the two different values of these colors of orange, this one, beep, 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 that is hashtag, or pound sign rather, FF9004. And then this one, bink, 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 is hashtag FF6604. So those are my two favorite colors of orange, and I wanted to incorporate them into my banners and then my whole ding-dong brand. So that's cool. Let's do more stuff that y'all can't see. Okay. Channel points. Unlock a random... What? Sub emote. Oh, I need emotes. You already have D&Me's emotes unlocked. Check them out in your emote picker. Well, I haven't done any of those. Manage rewards? Is this how we're going to do this? Yeah, I don't think so anymore. Channel points. Manage. Oh, I need to. All right. Whoever's watching, what are some fun D&Me emotes you would like? D&Me emotes. D&Me oats. D&Me oats. D&Me emotes. Send a message in sub-only mode. You are already subscribed to DnMeAdventures. Send messages in subscriber-only chat as much as you want to. Your points were not used. Choose an emote and then modify a single emote. How to earn channel points. It's boring. I don't want to do that anymore. So, yes, I was going to use Streamlabs OBS, but until like 6:10, then I wound up watching Jaws. I was just listening to it as I was doing art. I was clipping out of Hollywood Reporters to get material for my 2021 vision board. I'm gonna take... Thank you, Large Melon Lady, for this fun prompt. I'm going to turn on my green screen again. So I was going through Hollywood Reporters to get fun images and words and stuff for my 2021 vision board. And then I was listening to Jaws, and then halfway through I was like, wait, I want to watch it. So I came to a stopping point for Jaws, and then, for my art project, and then I watched Jaws, and it's a very good movie. If you haven't seen it, hey, my hot take recommendation for a cool movie is 1975 Jaws by Steven Spielberg, I think he was 26 years old when he made it. A couple little Jaws trivia. I think that was his first feature-length movie. The one before that was a short film, I think, called Duel. And so Steven Spielberg wanted to make Jaws because he was like, oh, well, the universe is telling me I should make this movie because Duel had 4 letters in the word, and then Jaws has 4 letters in the title. So I should make this movie. And Duel was about a guy in a car, and then he was being chased by this 18-wheeler car whose windshields are all muddied up, and then I don't know if the tiny car cut off the 18-wheeler in traffic, and then he kind of earned it or something. I don't know. I haven't watched Duel. It took me years to remember that the name of the thing was Duel, because I learned it once, and then for the next 14 months I was like, now what the heck was that movie called? And then, spoiler alert, for Duel, at the end of it, when the 18-wheeler goes over a cliff, then they used the T-Rex, what ends up being the T-Rex vocalization, the as it careens off a cliff. So that's really cool. And then for Jaws also, I have more stuff here, but in my notes, but I want to talk about Jaws. So for Jaws, What else? I had more fun stuff. Oh, so the shark that they made for Jaws, like they used some footage of real sharks, but the like animatronic one, his name was Bruce, which is really cool. So that's why in Finding Nemo, then the I never knew my father. Fish are friends, not food. That great white shark is named Bruce, named after Bruce. But the animatronic shark worked so infrequently, like it would just like all the mechanics and stuff underwater, and it was just uncooperative. They actually ended up using that shark so little in compared to how much they wanted to use it, but that wound up making that movie so much better because it's one of those a perfect example of the thing is scarier off screen, where like its presence is hinted at instead of like actually like, look, there's the CGI monster. So I think some of the best movies implement that, where it's like it's in the shadows, or the POV. You're seeing it from the point of view. So that's really cool. And then what other fun jaw facts do I have? John Williams, who wrote the music, and he's brilliant. He did Jurassic Park and Indiana Jones and Harry Potter and he won a million Oscars. But when he was working with Steven Spielberg, then Steven Spielberg was like, okay, so this is the first music pass. What you got for me? And then John Williams at a piano went, bum, 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 bum. And then Steven Spielberg went, ha, that's hilarious. All right, what you got for me, though? And he's like, no, this is it. And he's like, ha, wait a second. So, like, because of the just primeval, like, Neolithic, I don't know if that's the right word, just the primal, back of the head, like, prehistoric, just the simplicity of two notes, and like a heartbeat almost also. And then Steven Spielberg also said that without John Williams' music, then that movie would have been half as good. So without the music, then it will be half as good. So that's really neat. And then in the 1976 Oscars, I read this. The IMDb trivia page has 297 trivia items. I read like 15. I normally read all of them, but I was like, oh, I have a D&Mead to do at 7. So for the 1976 Oscars, John Williams was conducting the orchestra for the Oscar performance. And so when he won it, he had to run from the Oscars onto stage, and he was like, oh, thank you. I'm a grateful man. And then he had to run back to finish conducting the orchestra, which what a mensch. What a good guy. So that's Jaws. If you haven't seen it, again, it's really cool. I think it's a stellar horror movie, and I'm glad I watched it in October because I think it's literally one of the best horror movies. I watched it in college, either my sophomore or junior year, for the first time ever, and I was like, holy crap, that was super duper scary. How can anyone watch it younger than sophomore or junior year in college? Because if I was a kid and I watched Jaws, that's it. No ocean for me ever, man. Game over, man. Game over. So, boof, what a good movie. So, if you're watching, no one's watching, that's fine. What other unexpected horror movies are there? Because Jaws is a July 4th movie, but what other, like Die Hard, is it a Christmas movie? Oh, no one knows. Yeah, an unexpected horror, or a horror, or a good watchable one on Halloween. That's fun to think about. Speaking of October, and I have one last thing on my notes, but this is good. So today, October, Paige says, I watched Jaws very young and loved it. I'm watching. Hey, Paige. Good to see you. Are you? Whoa. Bradley and I are watching. Well, hello, Bradley and Paige. Bradley and Paige have a Rocky Horror Picture Show that they produced up in Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee. So y'all should watch it. Go over. The first show's at midnight. Me being an old man, I was like, oofa doofa midnight. Golly. But what are y'all drinking? Are y'all drinking anything? It's probably like kombucha because y'all are... I have nothing. I don't have a good follow-up for that. But hello. All right, speaking of October 18th, today is my 2nd year anniversary for when Zombieland Double Tap came out in theaters. So, October 18th, 2019, one of the best days of my life. After filming 9 days of my best life, the Blu-ray and DVD digital package. I've been to a couple... Paige is drinking tea and smoothies. Paige and Bradley, excuse me. I went to a couple Red Boxes recently, and they have, like, you can buy the Zombieland Double Tap DVD and Blu-rays. So, if you buy it, I won't get any of that money, but you'll have it. So, that's great. Aw, thank you, Paige said. So proud of you. Thank you very much. I'm super pumped. It was awesome. It put me on the map. It made me feel like I did Good Girls before that, which was NBC, and then it's now on Netflix. But that was my biggest thing pretty much ever since so far. So it was really affirming, and yeah, it's amazing. But, so the 2nd anniversary for that. Today I was also editing my Creep Show episode where I had the footage from my Creep Show episode, which premiered September 30th, a couple weeks ago, on Shudder, which if you haven't seen it yet, you should see it. And you can do a 7-day free trial. But if you sign up for it, I'll get money. Maybe. I don't know. But I edited my footage, and how that normally works is I edit every second, like I keep in every second that my face is on screen or that I'm saying a line. So what ends up being is just a real quick, just all of my footage, just me, and a little bit of coverage from other people because I'm saying lines over them. But yeah, that's how I do reels and like clips, so that when people go, hey, so you were in Creep Show? Let me see it. And I'll show a clip of just me. So that's how that works. And then also, I am working out. Oh, I clicked the wrong buttons. I am working out the details for me going up to Columbus, Ohio on this upcoming weekend. Woof. Because there is a film festival called Nightmares, and a short film that I did in 2020, early 2021, I don't remember, is called Lethologica, where I am, not to spoil too much, but I am tied to a murder chair, wrapped in chains, and bleeding from, well, just a lot of everywhere. And then this fabulous actress, very, very talented, Haley Nicole Leary, I think is, yeah. We have a scene together. So that is in a short film, and it's having its world premiere this Saturday, October 22nd at Nightmares Film Festival. So like me ironing out details for that and heading on up there this weekend. Today was a reminder that the most recent stuff I've done is horror comedy. And I had another thing, like I had a very big audition for another horror comedy like a couple months ago, like a very big audition for a very big horror comedy. And I was like, oh, it's interesting that people want to see me get bloodied and screaming and stuff. So, and I recently did another short film, very recently, like a couple weeks ago, where I had blood on me and I was I was zip tied to a chair. It's not necessarily a horror, but it's a dark comedy. So there you go. So today was a very Victor's recent brand is horror comedy. So my Facebook and Instagram and Facebook and Instagram post was self-proclaimed horror comedy king. So when I go up to Nightmares Film Festival in Columbus, Ohio, then I will network, and that'll be amazing because your boy's nervous for networking, but I'm personable. Paige says, have you ever seen The Thing? We think you'd like that one too. I watched that, I think, last year in October. First time I've ever seen it. It's very good too. So the thing about The Thing is that when it first came out, people were so completely turned off. They were like, what the heck was that? Like, it was gore porn of just like this weird, like, and like no one, like, it was so, you either loved it and you were in the small minority or you hated it and just thought it was a waste of everyone's time. And it was John Carpenter. And then it has since become one of the best movies, arguably, of all time. And it's fabulous. I had one of my filmmaker friends dissect it and said that, like, the dichotomy of the fear of the outsider, but then also the fear of, like, being trapped inside, like, that was, like, a strong dichotomy. And then, like, not trusting anyone and the isolation of the Arctic. And I was thinking about The Thing, I think, last night or today, where, like, that scene of, like, one of the very first scenes is a helicopter is chasing a husky through the Arctic and is just shooting at the dog. And, like, because I read a little bit about it before going in, and I was like, what the heck? And then I was like, oh, yeah, The Thing's very good. The Thing is a really, really excellent movie. And I didn't know this, but Kurt Russell, one of the leadmans of The Thing, like, my first exposure to Kurt Russell was Sky High, where he played the dad. And he played the dad, but then he was also a little bit of a jerk in the movie. And so I was like, okay, but that was my first Kurt Russell. But he was super, super, super famous, like, in the 80s before I really got to know him at all. So, like, him being Ego now for Guardians of the Galaxy 2, like, and the Christmas Chronicles, which I haven't seen yet. Love Sky High, says Paige. Yeah, I love that movie too. I got Danielle and Kayla Panna Baker's autograph from it. And in early high school, I had communications with Nicholas Braun, who played Zack Attack. So, like, I have a special connection to Sky High because it was the first movie I saw right before going into high school. That was literally I remember because I was in the movie theater and I was watching Sky High, and I think, like, within the week then I would go to high school, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm taking notes. And then I was just aimlessly chewing on a button, just like had a button in my mouth, and just like sucking on it just for an oral fixation thing. And then I swallowed the button like halfway through the movie. So that's my Sky High story. But Kurt Russell, like, Escape from New York and Tombstone and The Thing and just a bunch of other stuff. Like, Kurt Russell was like the Chris Pratt of his day, so that's great. Well, he's the dad. But he was in so many good movies and as the lead role and played such charismatic characters that he was end up cast in a really, really, really evil role because they took, like, a global survey because they wanted someone inconspicuous for the role, someone, like, unexpected for this really, really, really evil character. And they took a global survey and they found that Kurt Russell was the most likable actor in all of the world. And I was like, I had no idea. Like, he's a pretty swell guy, but I didn't know he had that clout back before I knew him, really. So that's The Thing. Why did I did a whole bunch of I watched it I think last year. And then I did a whole bunch of research about the thing. John Carpenter. I think maybe my Creepshow episode had something to do with the thing and I had to do research. I don't remember. But horror comedy, yeah. Anyways. Good 40 minutes so far. Let's see. Paige and Bradley, I don't know if you were here for this, but the first viewer of tonight was user Large Melon Lady, who demanded, show melons. And then I was like, I don't have melons. I could draw melons. And then I'm assuming since it's a lady, it's a she. But they went, that would work. Draw it. And then I drew green screen. There we go. I drew a watermelon, and they went, it's beautiful. Thank you. It's so beautiful. I'm going to post it on my Instagram. It's fantastic. So let's look up if Large Melon Lady, I wonder. Lol, says Paige. I wonder if Large Melon Lady just spends evenings going on Twitches and demands melons, because that's great. Let's see. Instagram. Large Melon Lady. Melanie. What an interesting viewer. Yes. Melanie, Large Melon Lady, certainly has an Instagram. And Melanie, oh, I get it. Melanie. And then their bio for their Instagram page is melons, fresh melons in all caps, which, hey, Melanie, if melons make you happy, then I'm very happy for you. I'm glad that you found that. How fun. You better post my beautiful hand-drawn watermelon. All I'm saying. So that was fun. Let's see. Paige and Bradley. Did you play the Harry Potter computer games growing up? Because I've been thinking about them a lot. The first one, whose graphics was the pinnacle of graphic perfection in the day. And which ones? Like the first one. So Sorcerer's Stone on computer. Like OSG. The most original gangster. Because I was thinking also part of D&Me is that, you know, I have the DnMeAdventures on Wednesday, but if I get into like gaming, that's one of the ones I would want to start off with. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on computer. And then I like get an emulator and then have like the same setup. Paige says, I think it was a little before my computer game life, but I did play Pottermore. Pottermore was great. Pottermore was high school for me. Nope, was college for me, because I remember going overseas, or was it high school? I remember going overseas for a study abroad program, and like I was either right about to finish Pottermore or it was really prevalent in my life. And I remember playing Pottermore instead of what it is now, which is just a whole bunch of Harry Potter articles and J.K. Rowling writing stuff. But yeah, like you could collect, for Pottermore, you could collect Bernie Bott's Every Flavor Beans and unlock chapters, and it was great. And so for sorting for Pottermore, the very first time I got sorted was the results said that I was Ravenclaw. And I was like, well, let's see what my second Pottermore account says. And then I got Hufflepuff, and then I've gotten Hufflepuff ever since. And people have told me that that is the most Hufflepuff thing a Hufflepuff could do. So I'm a proud Puff. If you've seen Puff the Musical, I've donated money so that I could get the video on demand for that. A very proud Hufflepuff. If I had time, and if I wasn't tied to the desk with all these cords and stuff, I have just a corner in my closet devoted to Hufflepuff. I have a Hufflepuff baseball cap and the robe from Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and a pillow and a no-sew fleece blanket that I assembled myself. No-sew fleece blanket, yeah. And then like a Hufflepuff spatula and a shirt and a tie clip and socks. And a boutonniere. Yeah, so love Hufflepuff. Paige says, I would be really interested to see you play it. Thank you. I loved that game. The gnomes were terrifying in the first one, and then they chase you around, and then when they bump into you, then you lose Bernie Bott's every flavor beans. And I was like, oh, that's like health points and stuff. Terrifying. Because the way the camera was also positioned, like you couldn't really see behind you, so you're just running around, and then you turn the camera around and they're right there, and oh god. But in the second one, no fear whatsoever. They're like, oh. And I said this in a previous D&Me episode, but they had a little song that doop bop doop bop doop bop doop bop doop ba da doop bop doop bop. Paige says, I have a lot of Slytherin stuff. I can see that. Your ambition knows no bounds. What is Bradley? Bradley, what house you is? I'm guessing Hufflepuff. Or Gryffindor. Yeah. Either of those are great. So that's Pottermore. Yeah, like... Bradley is probably Hufflepuff, says Paige. Good. Keeping good company. And... Paige says, but in true Bradley fashion, they do not know. Lol. Well, Bradley, go and take the Pottermore quiz right now. Take like Google full Pottermore quiz where it asks like all 30 questions instead of just like 10 questions. That will be your homework right now. No, you don't have to if you don't want to, but you should. As far as Hogwarts houses and like personality tests, Hufflepuff and Slytherin like are the most compatible. I'm just saying, like in relationships and friendships, like one of my best friends, Peter O'Neill, in Charlotte, North Carolina right now, he's a Slytherin to my Hufflepuff. Best friend since 6th grade. So yeah, it's a real thing. Anyways, Paige says that's what I've always heard too. Yeah, so go us. We did it. So yeah, Harry Potter, playing games. And like I could also do like Skyrim or the Arkham games. But that needs like a game console. And I could maybe do the computer game on my laptop, but then I'll figure it out. Paige says, or Monster Prom. All right, so here's the fucking thing with Monster Prom. The When Can We Play people, Blades in the Dark, we all met in Alabama to hang out as a group and spend some quality time together and just hang out and meet in person because it was a internet game that we do over Twitch. And one of the games we played a lot of games, but one of them was called Monster Prom, where it was like a choose your own adventure kind of deal. You choose a character, and then there's they're all the classic Universal monsters, so like a Frankenstein and like a ghost and stuff. So you could pick a character, and then you asked your goal was to ask another character out to prom, and you went like 4 or 5 rounds of meeting them in the gym or meeting them in a classroom, and it was very silly and irreverent and a little bit naughty. And when I was playing, I was going after an eldritch horror creature monster, and then like
the way that the responses were coming out, it sounded like I was so far ahead of every other schmuck who was playing. And I was like, oh, this is a sure thing. Like, I'm going to ask them to prom. They're going to say yes. Easy. I won. You all stink. And then she said no so hard. So hard. I might have been bitter for the rest of the weekend. Just so I play games for escapism. I don't need to be turned down by a monster in Monster Prom, where I could be turned down by lovely ladies here in Atlanta. Anyways, it's a dumb game. Paige says you have to redeem yourself, or I could just give up. Giving up's easy, baby. Paige says, I would have gone to prom with you. Well, that's very sweet. Thank you, Paige. It's because we're Slytherin Hufflepuff. So, that's very sweet. Thank you. I went... All right, I had this one sentence hanging over my notes, but no, this is way more important. I went to 5 proms, y'all. High school, I went to 5 proms. Look at my Band-Aid. Oh, boy. It is having some trouble. Look at that. That's cool. I went to 5 proms. I went my junior year. Is that right? No, I went as a sophomore because juniors and seniors were allowed to go to prom, but not sophomores unless a junior or senior asked you. So sophomore year, I went to prom because an upper class woman asked me, and I said yes. And then my junior year I went, my senior year I went, and then 2 years after I graduated, then underclassmen were like, hey, Victor, hey, college boy, you want to go to prom with me? And I said yes. And I was willing to go to a 6th prom if one of my underclassmen friends asked me. But then my girlfriend at the time went, no, you will not do that for your friend. And I was like, okay. So 5 proms. I could have bought a tux. My first prom, and that would have saved us a bunch of money, probably. But that's very funny. Proms. I never remember about proms. Anyways, so before I get to my last note here, and this is just notes I have in case nothing else happens. I'm just gonna sip a little bit. All right. So, my sister asked me a while ago, I want to know your inspirations behind all the characters, but that can be a more in-depth thing later. And that is such a great question that I wanted to give it time to really honor it and answer it well. So I think it was down in the last 10 minutes of one of the other D&Meads. And I was like, oh, that's a great question, but I can't answer that right now. So I'm even going to take away that distracting beer drinkies in order to give this its full due, because it's a great question and I'm excited to answer it. So stay around. My inspiration behind all the characters. So, as we all know, I made Tipsy, the Forest Gnome Rogue first, then Onyx, the Dwarf Barbarian, then Rock, the Half-Orc Wizard, and then Toot Toot, the Loxodon Bard, in that order. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tipsy was my very first character I made, and this was back before I knew pretty much anything about D&D. So, I went with entertainer background. I went with gnome because as far as D&D goes, I don't want to play an elf or a human because I think those are boring and I think everyone else does that and they enjoy it, and I want to play the more exotic races. Is that a good... That's probably not a great sentence. But so I chose gnome, and then in I think our first episode, then we found waddles, and I was like, whoa. So I really wanted to play very much how Victor would play D&D, of just goofing around and looting, because that's very much my play style for like Skyrim and stuff. Cracking jokes all the time. I didn't know any of the rogue mechanics, so it wasn't until like 3 years later where I was like, wait, what is sneak attack? So I wasn't a good damage dealer, but I had such a big inventory that I was very clever with items, and that's why I have 2 pages of notes for Tipsy's inventory, pretty much. So that was my first one, and then I played with my mom and my sister and then 2 of my college friends, and that was really, really nice experience. Just the first D&D experience was very family-oriented, familial. And then for Onyx, Dwarf Barbarian, I wanted to play the exact opposite of Tipsy, where I don't really want to play like another gnome or another rogue. Like, I want to play vastly different characters from each other because that's more fun for me, and then I get to play the wide range instead of like just the way I play Skyrim. It's just a sneaky archer, and which is a very good way to play Skyrim, but I wanted a whole different flavor. So I was like, okay, instead of joyful and nah, then I was like, I'm gonna be a very just someone like a man of few words, gruff, hit 'em ups, very impulsy. Where Onyx to me is like, if everyone else is kind of wishy-washy and spending those 35 minutes of making the plan, then Onyx would be the first one to huff and then stand up and then go beat down the door. Very Leroy Jenkins in that manner. Yeah, and when I was designing him, like, I wanted scars, and I was coming up with dreadlocks, and I was like, oh, dreadlocks would be cool, and like this big old beard because Tipsy's clean shaven. So pretty much the antithesis of Tipsy all the way around. And then Rock, I wanted, because I think I talked about this also in another thing, but it might have been one of the other D&Meads. But I have a Excel spreadsheet, Microsoft Excel spreadsheet of all the races and all the classes of D&D. And I want to go through and even shows that I watch, like Critical Role and The Adventure Zone and Dungeons and Daddies and others, where I don't want to play a Goliath Barbarian, because Grog by Travis Willingham did an excellent Goliath Barbarian in Vox Machina, which is the first campaign of Critical Role. So I don't want to do what other people have done. Excuse me. That I know of. Like familiar characters to me. I want to do my own stuff all the time. So I found it really interesting because orcs are very physical. So like an orc barbarian, that's right out of the textbook. But I wanted something completely different. So having a half-orc wizard. And I played just 3 games with Rock, but and it was with Peter, actually. That was his first D&D game, and I was like, I want to be there for his first D&D games. So it was me, and then Peter played a gnome or a halfling named Barrick, who was a very mechanical guy. So maybe an artificer, maybe a rogue. It's in my notes somewhere. But Peter makes characters very much inspired off of the characters he loves a lot. So for that one, maybe not that one, but like he played a superhero tabletop RPG where he was directly inspired by Ant-Man, so he had insect communication. And he made a Warforged, which is kind of like a ribbit, the robot race. But he made a Warforged Ranger who was very inspired by K2SO from Star Wars Rogue One, played by Alan Tudyk. So he does that, whereas I kind of pair things together and like classes and stuff. things that would be interesting or stuff I haven't seen before. And then for Toot Toot, the Loxodon Bard, I was playing The Witcher, I think, right at the beginning of the collapse of society in March of 2020. I played Witcher. That was my coping mechanism. So for like literally a month and a half straight, I played The Witcher 3, and that was all I did. And I staved off. I saw other people run around on fire outside my window, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep playing. But I was talking to someone. I was talking to Andrew Anderson, who is my DM for Toot Toot, and I was like, I think we were talking about D&D because we're very similar. Like our Venn diagrams are like 98% overlapping, and that's why I gave him the nickname 98%. So 98% and I were talking about D&D, and then he was telling me about his characters that he made, and then he showed me his hero forge that he made of his Loxodon paladin, I think. And I was like, oh, because I didn't know what a Loxodon was. Loxodon is the elephant folk in D&D, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I was playing a couple more hours of Witcher 3, and I couldn't get this elephant out of my head. And I was like, Drew, I want to play a Loxodon. He was like, all right, cool. You should do it. And I was like, yes. And he's a bard. And his name is Toot Toot, which is very funny. And I was like, why? How did I get that name? Where Tipsy, I had a little time to think of like his background and stuff, so I had a couple days to figure out Tipsy, like his name, and then I didn't know what bonds or flaws were, so I was like, his father's chainmail got stolen by the Thieves Guild. Oh. And then Onyx, I actually spent some time in Atlanta, and then I was like, I want like a good mineral or gem name. So I went to a mineral and gem store, and I looked around at all of the rocks you could pick out, and so I was like, okay. So I was writing down names like Jade and stuff, and I was going through like, and then I was like, Onyx is very good. And then rock was like, I like the like noun names of like names that people like. I don't like the Hrothgar D&D names. That's not as fun for me. Like something clever. So Rock, where he's a lot more intellectual, but that's kind of orky. Yeah, and then Toot Toot. Early on, I was like, this is too silly of a name. I couldn't possibly have a serious character named Toot Toot and then play them genuinely and sincerely. It's like, I don't know. It was very funny. And then I was like, what? That does sound familiar, though. And then I looked it up. And then in Disney's Zootopia, then the little fennec fox who is has like an elephant onesie and was in the baby cradle carriage and like was eating a popsicle or something. His name was Toot Toot. I was like, oh, that's very cute. But I came up with it organically. So Toot Toot. Yeah, for Toot Toot, I was actually going through all the things about like thing, and I rolled to see how high he was, and 7'3". I was like, oh my gosh, that's, if you were 7'3" in a world of people far less than 7'3", then you would always be hyper aware of height and like how that affects your whole character. And then I was going through because Tipsy and Rock were both like good. Tipsy was chaotic good. I think he was neutral good, like on the character sheet. And then me thinking about all the times I played Tipsy, I was like, oh, he was not neutral. He was very chaotic good. And then Onyx, he has a whole history that was, I think, talked about in the last D&Mead, where he's more chaotic neutral, where he has a history of whoever paid him then gets his services. So that was very him. And then so I wanted something different for Toot Toot because I didn't want him to be like chaotic good and stomping around a village and like using his music for bad. So I actually chose the alignment lawful good. And I was like, oh, this makes total sense for Toot Toot. So I've been playing that. That has been a huge like compass. Like his moral compass was a huge inspiration for me on how to play Toot Toot. He's very polite and he always tips 20%. And he's like, he doesn't do stuff just because it's fun. And like in his group that he plays with, everyone else is kind of chaotic good and chaotic neutral. Emphasis on chaotic, like chaotic in italics with a capital C and a capital H and a capital O, and and an O. So he's kind of, he draws in the reins on them, and he's the voice of reason and logic and common sense. So yeah, I just adore him. And like a very performative, I wanted standard American, but having the lilts and just fabulous vocality and range. So that's how he got his John Hurley voice. Toot toot the Loxodon Bard. And I don't sing, so to have the mask of Toot Toot helps a lot of me then singing as Toot Toot, and it's a lot more bearable. So that is my inspiration behind the characters. That is a fabulous question, Sarah. Thank you for asking. If anyone, whoever watches this, has any questions whatsoever, you can hit me up on any of my D&Medias. You can put them in the comments, or you can ask them, and I will. I would love to answer them. At the beginning of D&Me, I thought it would be a fun thing when it does become grander. Paige says, it's so cool to see your process. Thank you. I've spent a lot of time thinking and reflecting and just loving life and art and D&D. If you have any questions, reach out to me and I would love to answer them in future episodes. Early on in D&Me, I thought that there'd be a lot more questions and comments and stuff, so I could have my characters read them and answer them, and then I will film that like in the week between episodes and then have it as the intermission for the next episode, but that hasn't really happened. So, but ask any question and then they will all be answered in time. I have a lot of great stuff planned, like story-wise for the game and just branding and technical-wise, and like the podcast is only the beginning, and I have, again, 8 full pages of notes on what D&Me can be. So I'm excited. I also have down here, make this as a reminder to future Victor to see how far I've come. So Paige says, you have so much coming. Thank you very much, Paige. Yes, I do. And I'm excited, and just opportunities is a word that I've really clung on to for 2021. So this is a huge opportunity, and working with you and Bradley and When Can We Play is a huge opportunity. And I love it so much. Actually, When Can We Play, speaking of which, has a Redbubble store, which I am stalling right now so I can type as quick as I can. So the website for the Redbubble store is on Redbubble, and it is called golly. Okay, I got it. Redbubble. So, you can look on Redbubble, and then the artist name is Wavelengths with 2 S's at the end. So Wavelengths, and they have 69 available products. Nice. But they have art done by Bradley for Blades in the Dark, And Daddy, who runs the Redbubble store, has a lot of great like floral designs and pastels and geometric patterns and stuff. But there's a whole collection that is When Can We Play Blades in the Dark? And my lovely face, wanted poster, steampunk wanted poster, Blades in the Dark, wanted artificer. That's me. So you can get my face on a mouse pad or a mini skirt or an iPhone case or. So go and check that out. Buy stuff with my face on it. Of this. There we go. That's very good. Excuse me. All right. Paige says, I want a mini skirt with your face. You're very sweet. I have no appropriate comment for that. Yummy. So, that, yes. Make this as a reminder to future Victor to see how far I've come. Yeah, D&Me has come a long way, and I appreciate all the support. My numbers, I keep an Excel spreadsheet of my numbers for D&Me, and I keep bringing that up tipsily for D&Meads, but they keep growing. Like, I have different colors also for the D&Me numbers, but green is for growth, and literally every day that I check all the numbers across all my D&Medias, there's always green. Excuse me. So whether it's views on YouTube and Twitch or clicks on my link tree, not LinkedIn. Although, no, LinkedIn, I don't know. So views for, get out of here. Clicks on Linktree, and then in that, if you click on a thing, then that's another click and a link, and then plays for podcast. It started off at 5, like clicks and listens to the podcast episodes, and now it's up to 17. And then one of my friends was doing an art project, and then she sent me a snap chat where she is listening to episode 3 of the podcast. So that's amazing. Thank you all so much for your support. And this could be a career, and I'm putting in the work right now so that artistically it's fulfilling as a career. Money will come and go. I am glad that I don't depend on D&Me right now to like pay my mortgage, because I don't have a mortgage. I'm in an apartment. But like, I am so glad that it's artistically fulfilling and satisfying instead of coming at it from a money angle, because I've made on D&Me like maybe $60 altogether, and that's after 3 months. So we'll rack up these Twitch numbers. I might start playing some computer games, and then we'll get me money. Paige says, I'll send you a shower curtain with mine and we will be even. I didn't see Barnum's design up there. I might have not clicked all the way through, but it looks like I'm blushing. And maybe because I am. Only my hairdresser knows for sure. That's a very old commercial that Paige and Bradley, I don't think y'all know. Y'all are young. Bradley, although is exactly my age because we went to elementary school together. But Paige, you are like 19. Paige says, I'm always down to play some computer games with you on D&Me. That's so sweet. Thank you. Yeah, we talked about Among Us. Oh, I wonder if we can Twitch at the same time. Like, when can we play and D&Me playing Among Us at the same time and streaming at the same time? I don't want to battle for viewers. That's interesting. I don't know if that can work. Paige says, yes, we can, in all caps. Totally can, exclamation point. Well, then we will work that out, but not while I'm drinking, because I'm not tipsy yet, but I'm getting buzzed. Victor doesn't remember good stuff. This week has also been great because Wednesdays I do D&Me in the evening. Thursdays I throw it up on YouTube, and then I force myself to watch the episode of D&Me in the first half of the day because it takes it's a 2-hour show, but it takes me 4 hours to get through for some reason. Because I might be easily distracted. Not easily distracted, but I'm addicted to my phone and I have to check all of my D&Medias every 17 minutes. I'm working on not being addicted to it. I had a great day this past week or the week before where I was I don't want to be on my phone at all today. And I used it for Waze directions from a place to another, but I just wasn't on my phone, and that was super nice. And I was I am always so productive for D&Me, and I always have 60% of my mind on D&Me, but I'm just I give myself permission not to be productive for D&Me today. And that was one of the best days I've had in a long time, for literally months. So that was really nice. But this week, I watched the episode early on Thursday, and then I got a lot done in my game notes, IMDb, and I put my link tree on all of my. Let's see if I can do this blind. Boop. There we go. Yeah. I put the link tree on all of my banners. So for any D&Media, you see now the link tree's there. Which link tree? This one. linktr.ee/DnMeAdventures. I did that, and then I made it into an IMDb show. IMDb. And I threw the podcast up. Was that this week? Lord have mercy. I think that was last week, but stuff's going, man. And for the podcast, oh yeah, I can't. I mean, I could maybe edit episode 5 before I go to Columbus, Ohio. What the heck? I might be able to, but I'm not going to pressure myself to do that. So that's why I haven't given a timetable on definitively when I can release the podcast episodes, because I know consistency is awesome and the best. So that's why I'm consistent on Twitch and YouTube for the DnMeAdventures proper. I wanted to see what this cup looked like on the green screen. So, I know consistency is very good, but I can't. I don't want to make a promise that I won't be able to keep for podcasts, because it takes me a while to do the podcast. It takes hours, y'all. Yeah, I don't want to say weekly, because I won't be able to do it. Because what if because I do. This is interesting too. For D&Me, I'm so silly. For D&Me, I get so involved in it that when I do get an audition for my actual career, where I'm a screen actor here in Atlanta, Georgia, when I get an audition, then I'm oh, well, I had this 6 hours of D&Me stuff coming up. I guess I can do this audition. And then I totally go, oh, wait, yeah, I'm an actor, of course. So then I do the audition, and I'm very grateful. But it's interesting that, because sometimes, I took a week where I went up to North Carolina for Life is Precious tour. Good Lord, the sirens. Always the sirens. The bells, the bells. But, okay. All right. We get it. My nose is always so, itchy during D&Me. Okay. So, nose, D&Meads. I don't remember what I was talking about. Jaws, y'all. It's a very good movie. So, D&Mead's once a month, a random Monday. Oh, I also did the channel trailer for the YouTube and the Twitch channels, which I'll throw that up here right now because that's fun. Oh, do I not have it on this computer? I don't think I have it on this computer. But that one's fun. So go on to YouTube and Twitch to check out the channel trailer. Yeah, I don't think it's on this computer. It's on this computer down here because I have a 2-laptop situation. But gather questions for tomorrow, Sunday. I did all that. So yeah, I think D&Mead once a month randomly. That's fun. And then make this as a reminder to future Victor to see how far I've come. Yeah. We're coming on to month 3. I make, well, to finish month 3. Yeah. The 28th, that's when I, consider, well, technically, the first episode of D&Me was on August 4th, but, I think I made the announcement July 28th. So the 28th is really when I conclude a month. So we're 2 weeks away from, not even, holy cow, it's the 18th. So 10 days away from the end of my 3rd month of D&Me. So that's 11 episodes. Yeah. A lot of great stuff. Subscribers, Linktree, podcast, D&Me as an IMDb show. Jaws, October 18th. Zombieland Double Tap, Creep Show. My horror chart, horror comedy. I want to know your inspirations behind all the characters, but it can be a more in-depth thing later. I'm taking off my slippers because it's hot in here. Oh, wow. I totally forgot about that. So I said that I might be blushing, but A, because I was. Thank you, Paige. You're very sweet. But B, I have rosacea, so I always have rosy cheeks. Rosacea is also W.C. Fields, I think. He's an actor of a previous age where he had rosy cheeks, but then this bulbous drunkard nose. And that's rosacea. Rosacea is when the blood vessels are closer to the skin than normal. So Robert Pattinson has rosacea where he has these asymmetrical red cheeks. So that, and also my room gets pretty hot. And I have a fan right here that I have on most of the day, pointed at me. But just like carpool karaoke, where they turn the AC off because otherwise it goes for audio, and it's just dreadful for audio. That and sirens. But yeah, I have rosy cheeks. When we play Blades in the Dark, when we can play, and near the end of the 2 hours, and for the season finale 2-parter, it was 2.5 hours to 2 hours and 45 minutes. By the end, my cheeks were very, very red because it was just hot and I get tired. But Edwin was like, yeah, your cheeks, you look so sleepy at the end and your cheeks are really red. But it's because of my fan. I want it on, but it'll just be bad audio. So that's cheeks. It's 8:23. I only have one beer this time because I didn't want to get schwasty-faced. But it's a tall boy. Is that what that? No, 16 ounce. Paige says, I'm always tired at the end of Blades. It's emotional. Yeah, it's a great role-playing show where we make a lot of emotional decisions, but also it's the stakes are always so high all the time. This past Thursday, they showed the season finale part 2, which was the season finale. And I want to watch bits of it again because It was such a good episode, and the ending for Thingamabob was really just, it's perfect. I don't want to, no spoilers, Paige, but like that's a very good way to wrap up his story. And of course, like Barnum and Vegas stories wrapped up well also. But I'm very biased because Thingama, Robert Cogg, he's great. A little tidbit for the D&D game that I DM for real life other people. I loved Thingama so much that I made him into a halfling for the Thieves Guild that came up to my characters that were in the Thieves Guild headquarters, and he had some spells like Identify and Detect Magic, and he went through some of the magical gadgets that they've encountered thus far in their adventure, and he goes, "Oh wow, this is something." So they got to meet Thingama, and I have retired my glasses that I wore as Thingama. They are on my shelf, and I love them very much. Paige says, "Oh, we love a crossover. I'm going to miss Thingama." Yeah, me too. He was a good one. But whatever I do next, I make very good characters. So I'm excited to see what does come next. We're thinking about playing Vaesen, which is like a Scandinavian, like a monster game where when can we play? Already played a season of it, but they didn't play with me. So me and Edwin are talking about making characters for that and playing. My apartment is creaking and making strange noises. It's the Monster Mash. The Monster Mash. So we're talking about doing Vaesen. Him and I, and then, but nothing has come of it yet because we're all very tired and doing other stuff. Oh no, that's not good. Do I need another light to make it not as well? Okay, here's an experiment. I'm going to turn down this light. Interesting. So now I don't, well, shit. I don't know, man. Silver Surfer, baby. Played by Doug Jones. Oh, well. I like it. Super bright. In like 6 more months for that D&Mead, then I'll be like, hey guys, so I'm here in Los Angeles, and yeah, Leo, the bathroom's the 5th door on the right. Okay, sorry. Decap, you know. No, that's way too famous. I don't want to hang out with like AAA listers and have a huge mansion. I do not want that. I want a sizable house. Like I'm thinking 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. Like here in Atlanta is great because then I can do Atlanta stuff and North Carolina stuff and Alabama and Nashville stuff. Quiet neighborhood. Like I'm a sucker for a cul-de-sac. Like I know that's very suburban, but like I can't do like loud cityscapes. Yeah, that'll be nice. My roommate the other night asked me, we were talking about cars and we were going around in the cars, and he was like, we went up to like this really expensive looking car, and he was like, oh man, that's awesome, I love that. And like in college I totally would have loved that car. And I asked him, what type of car do you want? He said some fancy dancy car. And he was like, what about you? And I was like, oh, well, if I could have any car, I'd want to, because I drive my 2002, I drive my grandma's 2002 Toyota Corolla. And I was like, oh, if I could have like any car, I'd want a 2020 Toyota Corolla, because I'm not a car guy and this works perfect. Like I don't need some fancy dancy, I don't need a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a Doc Marsden Aston Ashton Cooper. Ashton Kutcher. What's Aston Martin? I think that's the really rare ones here. So I don't need those. But he was like, come on, think outside the box. And I was like, okay. If I like to really go out of the box, like a 2022 Toyota Corolla. He was like, yeah, shut up. I was like, okay. But yeah, I'm a man of simple pleasures. Like just having a beer with some of my friends right here. That's a good, I was going to say Friday night. Hell, it would be a good Friday night. But this is a Monday night, so that's good too. 8:30. At this point, I'm just killing time. No, I'm kidding. I do need to use the restroom. But from previous D&Me's, like a drink, I now have intermission. So, let's see. Paige and Bradley, I have theatrical and mocap reel or commercial reel. Theatrical and mocap, that's like all my TV and movies so far without Creepshow. And then motion capture. And then commercial is 2 minutes and 15 seconds of commercial stuff. Which one do you want to see? Theatrical and mocap. Great. Here we go.
Great. Just so you guys know, there's no group sex. Okay, fine, group sex.
Whoa. No.
Question! Did you melt all the weapons?
Yeah, that's how we made these cool little peace thingies.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, Civil War general, you must know how to fight?
Sure. Poverty, sexism, social injustice.
Now, from where I stand, there's only one thing we can do.
Group sex. Right? No. We'll fight then.
You'll be the first to die, but I like your enthusiasm.
You might die.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
I am looking for,
Brian, he's not here today. Sorry, we can't give that out. You could leave him a note. I think he works again next week.
Now,
We can't stay here. Why not? It isn't safe. You're overreacting. Not this time. Are you scared? Well, at least we are here together. Does anybody know we're here? Did you hear something?
Ding, 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 ding. It's a very cute song. Yeah, that motion capture stuff was taken for. Paige says that's so cool. Yeah, right. The motion capture stuff was for Georgia State University. They did a weekend mocap workshop, and it was so fucking cool. And they are opening up. Not them, but a motion capture facility is opening up down here called the Mocap Vault. And I want to work. I want to work on mocap so bad. Like, I watched BFG. Yes, the Steven Spielberg directed BFG a couple months ago. And the movie itself is okay. But the mocap, featurettes and extras bits, I was like, oh my gosh. I want that so bad. Man. Oh well. Paige, 3 Raven Productions should do some mocap stuff so that I can do it. Make it happen, Captain. Are there any mocap opportunities up in Nashville? I have some friends in Cary, North Carolina, which is my hometown. Paige says I'd be down. Good. Write it down. Well, you're already doing 60,000 things. So we'll wait until November. Paige says I'm on it. So in Cary, North Carolina, which is my hometown, they are turning the Cary Town Center, Cary Towny Center, because town has an E at the end, which is dumb. But it was our mall, and they are turning it into they are renovating the inside, and they're turning it into a whole headquarters where they make Fortnite. So they're gonna have mocap stuff and just video game worky thingies. I don't know any of that stuff, but like, Paige says, Brad said in a sing-song voice, "It's a great shopping place." Yup, that's their theme song. Cary Towny Center. It's a great shopping place. Yeah, good job, Brad. Well, I'm not gonna say what school we went to because that's classified information. I don't want to give too much like personal stuff away, because when I do get famous, then I don't want people to find like where I lived in my hometown and stuff. So Paige says, you both just sang that at the same time. Oh my gosh, we are so cute. Oh, Bradley. I'm glad you're doing well, Bradley. It was great to see you in Alabama for the first time in, okay, let's do this math. So 5th grade is the last time we saw each other. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. 9th grade is when I graduated high school, which was 2009. So that's easy enough. 2005 then. Is that right? 2005 is when we last saw each other. So that is 16 years. 2005 to 2021. Boy, howdy, that's a whole lifetime. That's a kid. That's a whole kid. 16 years. I'm 30, y'all. I'm 30 years. That's half my lifetime. Wait, that can't be right. I was 14 when I did. I don't know. No. 9th grade. Okay, that's where my math was wrong. Okay. Okay, let's try that again, huh? So. Oh, shit. No, okay, so I graduated 12th grade in 2009. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. 2009, 12, 2008, 11, 2007, 10, 2006, 9, 2005, 8, 2004, 7, 2003, 6, 2002. I think that makes more sense. So that would be 19 years. When we were 11 is when we graduate elementary school. That makes a little bit more sense because Harry Potter starts when he's 11. Okay. And that's pretty much middle school. Okay. I got it now. So yeah. That's bonkers. Whackers bonkers? What's the trend? TikTok now? All right. I'm finishing my beer. There's this great lake. Oh boy, that peaked the audio. Sorry about that. There's a great lake in my apartment complex that's within walking distance. And at night, I like to take a nice little safe walk around the lake, and it's relaxing, and I'm with my thoughts, and it's getting nice and cool outside, which isn't great. I was telling someone else this, I think yesterday, but for summer, it's too hot for me, and I have a thing about the sun. Where I'm pretty much a vampire, and I hate being outside and getting any sun whatsoever because it's tied to maybe childhood trauma. But when it starts getting cool, like right at the beginning of fall and autumn, ooh, that's my favorite time of the year. That and right when it's warming up, right at the end of winter into spring, those are my favorite times of the year. So the fact that just like 2 or 3 days ago, then I woke up and the apartment was 62 degrees, and I was like, oh, this is very good. It's very fucking cold. I don't want to get out of my bed. But this means that it's finally getting cold outside, and it's like the oranges of autumn, and candles, and snuggling up and blinkies. Ooh, maybe I can get a thingamablinky. So that's very nice. So when I go on walks, then it's nice and cool instead of like that muggy summertime night. Like, thankfully, Atlanta doesn't have mosquitoes. North Carolina got some mosquitoes. So that was one of the best things moving down here to Atlanta. I was like, oh, there are no skeeters. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a walk after this. And I'm going to check my mailbox because I ordered, maybe drunkenly, there was this fabulous newspaper comic called Foxtrot. And for the most part, I think he retired, except now he's just doing Sunday panels. But he was one of my favorites. Bill Amend, I think is the cartoonist's name. But he's still doing Sunday panels, which I haven't read. Boy, I haven't read newspaper comics in forever. I have a whole history with newspaper comics, which I'll talk about in another D&Mead. But for Foxtrot, one of his characters, Jason, who is the little nerdy youngest sibling, apparently he has a D20 out, which is a purple D20, and all of the faces have 20s on it. So it's Jason's lucky D20, and I ordered one when I was a little bit tipsy one night, and it said that it is in my mailbox. So I'm looking forward to that. And then also my recent internet purchases, since you asked. No, Victor, don't check all your D&Meads. See? All my D&Medias, I was going to go through them all. Oh, yeah. The Foxtrot store just sent me an email. Well, sent me an email at 7:23 that said my dye has been delivered. So that's exciting. The other internet purchase that I've done recently is a beard mask from thebeardstruggle.com, where in this new world of 2020 and 2021 with the coronavirus, COVID-19, when I wear masks, then it hugs around my chin, as a good mask should, but it creates this huge fuck off dent in my beard, which I don't care if I'm like doing groceries and stuff. Like, I'm not out to impress anyone. But when I show up to like a set and then I'm like, well, the hair and makeup person can take care of this. If they don't have a hair and makeup person, then I'm like, oh, whoops. So I ordered these beard masks, which are like kind of like they just gently slope over my beard and like they protect my beard so that there's no beard's dent. So I got 2 of those, and that's cool. And so then for the Nightmares Film Festival coming up, where ours, Lethologica, is horror comedy short B block on Saturday at 6 p.m. if you want to show up. For them, I'm going to wear, if they come on time, but if not, I'll just wear a mask. But I'm going to get a QR code printed for a link tree that I'll make for all of Victor Rivera the actor's websites. So IMDb and Actors Access and all of my regular social medias, not D&Medias. And I'll just have the QR code over my mask. And Paige says, that's so fucking smart. Thank you. And since it's a horror con, then I'm going to have the QR code and then it'll be dripping blood. And that'll be fun. So then when people are like, hey, what's that? And then I'll be like, they're all my acting things. So branding opportunity. Always be thinking. ABC, baby. So I'm excited for that. So hopefully my beard masks from thebeardstruggle.com show up. And if my phone is listening, it knows I already bought those. So I better not be seeing any targeted ads. Phone. always eavesdropping. If I see a thingama fleece blanket in targeted ads, then I know for sure. Also, I'm wearing a Rule the Galaxy Sith Star Wars t-shirt. I do not support the Sith. I just wore it because it was clean. But would I, Victor, honestly, would you be a rebel? No, I'd be on one of the planets that blow up, if I'm being honest with myself. Like, that and like zombie stuff, I'll be one of the first to die. I don't want to do the whole Walking Dead where, oh, it turns out I'm the Walking Dead the whole time for 12 seasons. Like, that's exhausting. Just eat me. You know? I got other stuff. No, I mean, I won't have other stuff. Although, okay, here's my whole thing about art in the apocalypse. Buckle up, Buttercup. So, my freshman year of college, I had to take a freshman seminar, which is pretty much, this is what a college class is. We're going to teach you how to use a library and some bullshit like that. But it's pretty much like, this is how you write a paper. This is what a college workload is like. And college was pretty easy for me because I went to a not academically challenging college. But my freshman seminar class was called Art in the Apocalypse. So we read The Road, which if you have not read it, it is a very depressing, like everyone dies. And so what do you do? And we watched and we read a whole bunch of stuff. And so then our projects ended up being pretty cool because he was like, write a paper on anything you want. So I wrote a paper on what I would do in the apocalypse, which was very much like for Zombieland, the first one, which amazing. The first Zombieland, like they kind of did anything they wanted to, like them busting up that Native American store of just like getting it all out, just all your anxieties and taking whatever car you want. Pretty much that's what I wrote a whole paper on, which was really cool. And then I wrote another paper on comparing all of the different I Am Legends. So Robert Neville's novella called I Am Legend. It has like 4 or 5 different movie iterations, and one of them was with Vincent Price, and then one of them was a blaxploitation movie about like albino vampires and the black experience, and then one of them is Will Smith's I Am Legend. One of them was also The Last Man on Earth, I think, was the Vincent Price one. So I wrote like a comparison and contrast essay on all of those different movies, which was pretty cool. And then for the final project, he was like, of everything that we talked about in this seminar, in this class, do a project off of that. So someone wrote a paper of like, if you write something, just write a card, then how your future generations would treasure that card because great-great-grandpa wrote that card, which was really touching. And my dad writes me cards. Like, he writes one every couple of weeks and puts it in the mail, and it's really, really sweet to get in the mailbox, and I love it. And then also, he commissioned me to design a whole bunch of cards, and I'll turn off my green screen. So he commissioned me to make a whole bunch of cards, and I did a whole floral series. So I'll read these all out. This is fun. I did all of these on Photoshop. I'll do them in reverse order. So Daisy symbolizes hope. These times are difficult, and I wish you peace of mind and hope for a brighter future. Magnolia symbolizes perseverance. We will keep pushing forward and end up stronger. Red and white rose symbolize unity. No matter what, we will get through this together. We always have each other. So I designed these, and he sent most of them in 2020, so that's why it's we'll get through it, don't worry. Stargazer lilies symbolize abundance. Let us be thankful for all we have this year. Angelica symbolizes inspiration. Let 2021 inspire you to live life to the fullest. Valerian symbolizes readiness, plan, but also enjoy the surprises along the way. Pumpkin symbolizes growth. We have grown so much since January, and we will continue to grow. So I did all this art in Photoshop. Goldenrod symbolizes encouragement. I encourage you to work hard for your goals, but also to remember how far you've come. And these are Victor, remember how far you've come. Xenia symbolizes thoughts of absent friends. Times have been rough, but I miss you and I hope you're doing well. And Paige says, these are so beautiful. Thank you, Paige. Lotus symbolizes enlightenment. I hope you find the answers you seek. 2 more. Bluebell symbolizes constancy. Continue what works and makes you happy, but change what doesn't. And the last one, chrysanthemum symbolizes truth. Remember your inner truth and what you stand for. So I made all of those, and he sent them out via TouchNote, which is a cool thing. Like if you want to print out your own postcards, then you can write on the back of it too. Here, you can write on the back of it like messages and stuff, which is very sweet. And so he sent that to all of his friends and family. But he handwrites notes every couple weeks for me, and that's really amazing. So like now when I think back about it, then that person's project, like if you write a note, then like we're gonna lose everyone eventually. But like the fact that I have so many handwritten letters from my dad, that's very meaningful and beautiful. So that was his project. Paige says, I grow some of these, and they are a good reminder in life. Yeah. Gardening. Ooh, that takes patience, which I do not have. No, I have other patience, but not for living things. Ooh, that sounded very bad. But my project ended up being, I wrote a whole play about kind of what would you do in the apocalypse, and because it was a bit in I Am Legend Will Smith's where he has mannequins throughout New York City, and so he has interactions with those because of the loneliness. So I have a play where it's 3 people in a diner, like an abandoned apocalyptic diner, and the mental game happens, and it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty cool concept. Man, I miss plays. Okay. 8:53. We are getting to the end of our night here. Thank you for joining me. I'm not going to end quite yet. Let's see how many thousands of viewers there are. 1,000 viewers. And the rest are just shy. That's fine. I respect your privacy, other 999 people. So, as we finish up here, what do we have to look forward to, Victor? So, for D&Me, I will have this Wednesday's episode, which is the 20th, October 20th. October. Halfway through October already, y'all. Last year took about 8 years to get through. 2020. And then 2021, just 3 blinks of an eye so far. So I have one episode for October 20th. And then I will go to Nightmares Film Festival that weekend. So the 22nd. That's not right. No, it is right. Then Saturday the 23rd. That's when the world premiere is. And then October 27th is another Wednesday, which might be like a Halloween-y themed. It might be a spoopy episode. So that, and then after that, then I can edit some more podcasts. But I am sorry about last week's D&Me episode. I was very, very tired, and I don't like being that tired when I do episodes. So I will really strive to not do that. Because that and episode 3, I ended up calling episode 3 Tired Team, because I was just, the whole time I was like, and then Onyx goes to the bar, and it was really like twisting my arm to like edit in the podcast, because I was like, oh, this isn't a great episode, because it was just a very tired episode. And episode 11 was also very tired. So I learned a couple lessons from that, and I will strive to be better for the next ones. So episode 12 is going to be a great episode. I have a lot of stuff planned, a lot of guest stars. I feel very Fran Drescher right now. Just the nanny. Remember the nanny? Oh my gosh, I was reading something about John Lithgow and how 3 of his 6 Emmys are from Third Rock from the Sun. You remember Third Rock from the Sun? I hope that aged well. It probably didn't. I don't know. It might have. I want to watch Parks and Recreation. I want to watch all that again. I only watched like 2/3 of it. So I want to watch all of Parks and Recreation eventually. I want to watch all of House. I want to watch the last 2 seasons of Dexter, even though I know they're awful, y'all. I am not looking forward to it, but as a completionist, I'm like, ugh, those last 2 seasons. House, Dexter, Parks and Recreation. I want to watch all of Frasier, and that probably didn't age as well either. But Third Rock from the Sun, that would be really fun to watch, huh? Mommy and Poppy, that might be your new, just watch them all. Because my dad does a bit that John Lithgow does where he looks in the mirror, and the premise, if you don't know what Third Rock from the Sun is, it's aliens come down and pretend to be humans and like pretend to be a family so that they can learn about humans. So it's very funny because they're very exaggerated and it's very farcical. But so John Lithgow in his human form looks at a mirror and is going, I am gorgeous. And my dad says that, and it's very charming. It's very endearing when he says that. So with that, 8:58, you are gorgeous, says Toot Toot. Thank you very much for coming and hanging out and drinking tea and smoothies as I drink a beer. Thank you, Paige and Bradley. Thank you, Large Melon Lady. What a great way to start the episode. That was unexpected. Look at that dark green blob right now. Thank you. Tune in this Wednesday in 2 days to see episode 12 of D&Me. Again, I have a lot of cool stuff. Paige says, of course we love you. I love you all. Thank you. Stay safe. Be good to each other. Love people. Remember all those things I said. Oh, also, these postcards are part of the, oh my gosh, color wheel. So if you organize all of these, they make the rainbow. So I think like 2 people caught on to that. So I don't know if everyone of the recipients got it, but I'll keep my eye on you, watermelons. That's nothing at all. Thank you very much. And well, no, let's roll. Oh God. Did some eyelashes come out of that? let's roll to see who says goodnight tonight. It's part of my outro. Tipsy's 1, Onyx is 2, Rock is 3, 2 is 4. 2, Onyx.
Good night. Thanks for talking to us, Paige, and probably. I feel like an NPR host, but I don't care about like jazz and culture.
Here, hold on.
So, for this episode of Onyx's stuff, is a hammer better than an axe? We'll find out after these messages from viewers like you. PBS. All
right. Thank you. Good night.